I don't know what I must have done in a past life or something to get this dog, but he is just, oh my gosh, he makes me laugh every day, and he fits my lifestyle so perfectly. It's kind of crazy.
There were days where we thought.
Welcome to the Woman Angler and Adventurer Podcast, inspiring real women with a passion for fishing in the outdoors to go get their adventure on. Now, here's your host, coming to you from the Lance Chuck Camper Mobile Podcast Studio, Master Captain Angie Scott.
Welcome, everyone, to this week's episode of the Woman Angler and Adventurer Podcast. I have another guest on with me this week, Kelsey Dick. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, it's about time to have you on the show. I know we've kind of crossed paths here and there a little bit over the years, and you were down at ICAST this past July. Talk a little bit about that, actually. You helped Shimano with a women's event there, right?
Yeah, so Shimano has been we've been working really hard of one of our initiatives to further involve women of all capabilities in fishing, specifically like in our marketing campaigns, and just figuring out ways that we can involve more people and be a more inclusive sport. And so that goes not only towards our public facing and consumer channels, but also in terms of how we work in the industry. And so my team and I got together and came up with this idea to do kind of an industry-wide networking event for women at ICAST, and figure out kind of what are some of the challenges that women still face. How can we be better, kind of ambassadors, and how can we all work together as an industry to make it a more inclusive space?
So you did that, and was that partnered up with takemefishing.org, or was that a separate thing?
Yeah, so we partnered with Women Making Waves, that campaign, and we had it was kind of like a roundtable event where we had a bunch of different questions that we posed at each table, and you could consult and talk with the people at your table, and then we would switch about every 10 minutes. So at the end of it, we had a pretty comprehensive kind of report and takeaway of kind of how women in the industry were feeling about different topics, and just women and fishing as a whole. But overall, I say it was a really good event and kind of a good first step towards making this more of an annual event at ICAST, hopefully.
Yeah, that would be awesome. I did attend that roundtable discussion, and it was a lot of fun, mixing it up and getting, so just so the listeners kind of understand how it worked is we had a certain amount of time at each table, and we had numbers, and then the way it was set up is you would end up with a different group of ladies each time you switch tables, and then you would have these questions to discuss. So different questions, and it was really, really cool. And I think there's a link somewhere. I'll have to see if I can find it, where, RBFF shared a lot of the answers and things that we came up with to these questions. They took pictures of we had like these big pieces of paper to write on, and each different group, wrote out their discussions, basically notes or whatever. And they shared that somewhere. So I'll have to see if I can try to find that and put a link to that for this in the show notes for this episode, so people can go check it out. But yeah, it was a great event, and I really do hope that they continue to have this every year, because one, I just think it's super important to have that space to discuss these things, because it is important. And one takeaway I had that I thought was really interesting when Stephanie was sharing from RBFF some of their research, she mentioned that there was like a top 4 or 5 of like why women like to fish and why men like to fish. And it was interesting that men, it was like they love to catch fish. Whereas for women, that was like the fourth or fifth one down on the list.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so that shows that, companies need to market to women differently than men because we have different motivations. So.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that was really eye-opening. So you do marketing for Shimano and G Loomis, correct?
Yeah, so Shimano, there's Shimano North America, and then we own G Loomis, which is high quality conventional and fly rods, and then we also own Power Pro, which is a braided line company, and then we also own Jackal, which is mostly bass fishing lures.
Very cool. So obviously you're very passionate about fishing and you work in the industry. Is that what drove you to this career path? Was your passion for fishing?
I would say passion for fishing, but also mainly just the outdoors in general. I was raised kind of as just like a wild child in terms of my parents always valued time in the outdoors, and if we were ever caught inside, we would get grounded or yelled at if they came inside and saw us in front of the TV. It was like, you better get outside right now. So, and we had an RV growing up, and so we would just travel all over the place, and that was like anywhere from the mountains to the beach, just all over the United States. And so that just really instilled in me a love for the natural world and the outdoors. And every summer my family would spend probably 2 to 3 weeks on the coast of North Carolina. And so that's kind of become my second home. I still go up there every summer for a little bit. And that was just really time for me to just explore and be curious and observe nature. And fishing was just a way for me to insert myself into like the natural world. And I just thought it was the coolest thing ever. So I actually went to school, and my undergrad is in biology and my master's is actually in fisheries conservation and management. So I've always been connected to fishing. Now I'm on the industry side of it, but still able to have a lot of influence and still participate in those conservation conversations and projects, which is really cool. So
yeah, you're in a great area for it too. I know there's a lot of, I've had, we talked offline about BB Harrison on I've had her on the show a couple times. I know she does a lot in that space as well, in the Charleston area, which is where you're based out of. So yeah, that it seems like there's a lot of great opportunities in that area to focus on conservation. So
yeah,
and the fishery in your area too is very interesting to me.
Talk
a little bit about that. I know you do a lot of skiff fishing, and so in the Charleston area, there's a lot of great opportunity for that. I haven't personally fished there myself yet, but I'm learning more about it. So,
yeah, it's a really unique area because, so for someone like me, I've been fortunate enough to fish with a lot of some of the best anglers in the United States because of my job. And to me, the anglers that always stand out are the ones who they're not specialized in one thing. They can grab a low profile bait caster and go bass fishing, but then they can throw cast nets or set lines for going offshore fishing. And I feel like here in Charleston, I'm very fortunate because we have enough fisheries kind of migrating through with our different seasons that we're able to do a lot of different kinds of fishing. So like right now, primarily what I'm focused on is our flood tide red fishing. So that is primarily, it's a very technical, it's almost like hunting where you're finding the fish first and then you're casting to them. You're not just blind casting. It's all sight fish. Most of it is fly. And it's during these flood tides where we have these massive tides, and it allows water to come up onto these flats where we have fiddler crabs, and our redfish come up there and dig for the crabs. So that's kind of when you see like those iconic images of redfish tails. That's all of the like flood tide fishing. And it's just a really special time in the tide. You just see so much wildlife, and it's definitely one of my favorites. But another thing that we're doing right now is shrimping. We have a big deep hole shrimp fishery as well, which is also unique to the Charleston area. A lot of other states don't allow deep hole nets. So that's also really fun because you go out and shrimp for a few hours, and then you come back, clean them, and drink some beers and have dinner with your buddies. It's like one of the best things. And then in a few weeks here, as the water temperature cools off, we'll start getting really big bull red fish, which we'll catch a little bit offshore. But yeah, lots going on. Just really depends on the time of year. But if you're willing to learn and get after it, there's definitely the opportunities. So
yeah, absolutely. I love that. I love variety. I think that's why I'm so drawn to Florida, which, I've gone down there quite a bit, just because of the variety. So it sounds like you've got quite a bit of that going on over just, in the Charleston area. When you're fishing for the bull reds, what tactics do you use when you're going a little more offshore?
So there's a couple ways to do it. So most of the time, like I'm not really sure. This is kind of like my theory on it, but I need to consult with some of our biologists at DNR about it. But it seems like there's almost like resident bull reds who kind of hang out under the bridges and kind of like near structure. And then we get these migratory ones that run along kind of the beaches as we get into like the colder months. So for like those migrating fish, most of the time I'm looking for either dolphins and birds is primarily. If I find those two together, usually there's bull reds in there. I'm not sure exactly why, but it seems like that is what has been kind of the key for me. And then another thing that I do is as we get these cooler temperatures, the water just seems to clear up a lot. And so I'll actually take my skiff and just pull in front of the beaches on a calm day, and they're just like these bright orange blobs that I can find sometimes. It makes it really fun for sight casting. But yeah, that's kind of for those guys what I like to do. And then for some of our more like resident, if I have someone in from out of town and I just want them to tug on a big fish, sometimes I'll just resort to bait, or even sometimes some jigs, and jig them by the bridges in that area. Gotcha. But yeah.
Cool. Very cool. I have not caught a bull red yet. We tried.
What?
I know. We did a trip not too long ago. I guess it was like in January, down in Jacksonville area, and tried a little bit to get a bull red on, and we just didn't have any luck that day. But the thought of the possibility was very exciting.
Oh yeah, they're great. You need to go to Louisiana. That's where you get a fire.
Yep. I was supposed to do a trip there. I can't remember. Venice, Louisiana. Yeah. And COVID hit, and then that ended up getting canceled. So I didn't make it, but yes, I need to revisit that for sure.
Yeah, you do.
Well, very cool. And I love sight fishing too, like how it parallels so much with hunting. It's like
Yeah.
that's exactly what you're doing, but for fish, and
Yeah.
that's super exciting. It's always fun to mix it up and do different things. So
100%.
So very cool. Well, I wanted to also talk about your dog because I follow you on Instagram and you're the beardless
Yeah.
fisher, and your dog Darwin is absolutely adorable.
Oh, thank you. I think so too.
I love the videos and how he just loves to flop around in the waves.
Yeah.
So
He,
cool.
I don't know what I must have done in a past life or something to get this dog, but he is just, oh my gosh, he makes me laugh every day, and he fits my lifestyle so perfectly. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, um, he's a wire-haired pointing griffon, so he's a bird dog. But I primarily use him for fishing. But when like even when I'm on the flats and I'm pulling looking for tailing reds, a lot of times you'll hear them or you'll hear them eating. And sometimes he hears them before me and he'll point them,
Oh wow.
which is so cool. And then when I go surf fishing, like he won't, if I have a rod, if I have a line out, he will not leave it.
Oh,
Won't leave it. And if the drag starts growing, he'll start barking. It's wild.
that
I
is
like,
amazing.
yeah,
Wow.
yeah. And he's just like the goofiest, just most lovable creature. But yeah, he's certainly got a personality, and he loves to fish just like his mama. So
Did you get him as a puppy or?
yeah, I did.
Okay.
So I had gotten him. My family lives out west, and a lot of times when I visit them, we go fly fishing out there. And we went with a guide who had a griff, and that was kind of like when I fell in love with the breed, like many years ago. And then when I kind of like was at the time where I'm like, okay, I think I'm ready to get a dog. I immediately was like, I just want to get a griff, and I found a breeder in Georgia, and he picked Darwin out for me, kind of like based on my lifestyle, and we've been adventure buddies ever since.
It's awesome.
So,
It's
yeah.
like I feel like, people who are dog lovers often have multiple dogs throughout their life, and I feel like I don't know if this is 100% true, but I feel like everyone has that soulmate dog at one point,
Yeah.
and that it
Yeah.
sounds like Darwin is your soulmate dog for sure.
Yeah.
It's
He
awesome.
definitely is. He's the best.
I love it. Well, I highly encourage anybody listening to go check out your Instagram profile, The Beardless Fisher, and check out Darwin on there. He'll definitely bring a smile to your face.
Yeah.
I love it.
Definitely.
Do you have anything exciting coming up other than just enjoying all this great fishing in Charleston?
Well, the fall, I wish I could just not work and just focus on fishing because there's just so much going on. It's my favorite time of year to fish. So
Yeah.
this year I've got a couple redfish fly tournaments that I'm doing, and then this next week I'm actually going back to Venice, Louisiana,
Awesome.
see Eric and Mo at Journey South,
Yep.
and Mo and I'll be deckhanding for Mo. We're doing a ladies tuna tournament. So
Very
I
cool.
did it last year, and it's really cool to be on a all female boat, catching and tagging tuna out in the middle of the Gulf of Mexico. So
Wow.
that'll be the big one coming up. Yeah, and then I'll pretty much there's so much good fishing in the low country in the fall and in the winter. So I'll be doing my tournaments and then going to my friend's fish camp for a while,
Cool.
just to kind of unplug. But yeah, right now that's what I have on the docket. But
Awesome. Well, yeah, so Journey South, you mentioned that's where I was supposed to go for that. It was actually Jessica Haydel was doing
Oh
a
yeah.
content creation workshop, and
Yes.
I was
I
signed up.
was supposed to go to that too.
Were you? Yeah, I was so
Yeah.
bummed, that
No.
I'm sure they probably are doing more of those, I would think.
I don't know. I know Jess has been super busy, but I know a lot of people were very interested in that, so hopefully
Yeah.
we'll try again. But yeah, Journey South is a very special place, and Eric and Mo are some of the um just super interesting and kind and just really fun people that you'll ever meet. So
Very cool. Yeah, yeah. I hope to make it there at some point. I'm trying to remember if I've had Mo on the show before. I don't. If I haven't, I need to for
oh
sure.
yeah, he would be a great
We're
guest.
over 250 episodes now. I kind of start to forget after a while, but I need to look into that and definitely have her on if I haven't already. So,
Yeah.
well,
Or
very,
even
very cool.
or even Jess. Jess would be another great one too.
Yeah, I have had her on the show. So,
Oh, okay.
yep, definitely. She's been on probably a couple times now. But
Oh, nice.
yeah, she shares some just really great tips for people. So anybody listening, if you haven't heard those episodes, do a quick search for Jessica Haydel, the Woman Angler and Adventurer podcast. She shares some really excellent tips for gathering content when you're out there fishing and just really good, just tips and tricks to do it the right way, basically. So she knows what she's doing.
Yeah,
And she
for
does
sure.
great work. Well, I'm excited for you and the things you've got coming up. Sounds like you got a few really great months ahead of you here. And
Yep.
we'll continue to follow you on social media and hopefully meet up at ICAST again. Do you go to the Bassmaster Classic at all?
Oh yes.
Okay, cool. Maybe I'll
Yep.
see you in Knoxville. I'm excited. It's back in Knoxville in
Yeah.
2023. So
Yeah. It'll be great. I'm
awesome.
excited.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. Anything else you want to share that we didn't cover? I know it was pretty quick, but
I recently got my captain's license,
oh,
so
sweet.
I will be doing some trips here. If anyone's interested in coming down to Charleston and checking out our fishery.
Very cool. Do you have a
Can't
website
guarantee
or
fish,
anything set
but
up, or just reach out
I
on?
do not
Okay,
yet. So right now people can just contact me through my Instagram.
cool.
But
Very cool.
working on.
Did you do it online or did you go to a school?
Well, so actually, because of COVID, some of the C schools are offering a distance learning option where it's Zoom, like it's all online, but you Zoom like with your classmates and your instructor. So it was just nice because I was still able to ask questions and it kind of forced me to just sit there and go through it.
Mm-hmm.
Because I know it would have been hard if I had just done the online option.
Yeah.
But yeah, so
Very
I
cool.
did it in, I think 2 or 3 weeks.
Wow. It's intense, ain't it?
I'm sorry?
It's intense, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. But yeah, I learned a lot, and so now I'm a captain, which is great.
Very cool. But congratulations on that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, I did the online option, and so as you would expect, like you get a year to do it. So I waited until like a month before my year was going to be up, and
Oh my God.
yeah, and crammed it all in that way. But it all worked out. So I do sometimes wish I would have gone a classroom option because I think that just, like you said, causes you to focus and get it done. So
there's just so much information. The class, at least having an instructor, at least helped guide me in terms of like how to kind of study and stuff. I feel
Yeah.
like doing it online. I mean, props to you. I don't know if I could have done that.
I think the most challenging part, not having like an instructor to ask questions, was the whole mapping part of it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that I remember one weekend before my test, I locked myself in a conference room where I used to work and just spread the map out on the big conference room table and was like, I'm getting this.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Jeez, good.
Yeah. Not the most ideal way to do it, but
whatever. You did it.
Yep, exactly. It's done. So, well, yeah, awesome. Well, good deal. We'll look forward to seeing your adventures as you start taking people out and doing guiding and things like that as well. So very cool. Well, thank you once again for taking some time out of your day to be on the show.
Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
All right.